Censored climate protesters might be pretty irritating, but they undeniably have a serious cause. You could say we saw a bit of that yesterday when we experienced the hottest day in British history, in recorded history anyway, and there was a surge of wildfires right across the country, causing huge damage. So how do these protesters go about winning hearts and minds for their cause? Well, this was campaign group Just Stop Oil's answer today. Activists climbed gantries on the M25, blocking it and causing 9-mile tailbacks, causing, of course, extensive misery for many motorists. The group first made the headlines back in March when they stormed BAFTA's red carpet.
Wasn't even anything,
and it was football's turn. So they attached
crazy.
themselves by the neck to goalposts. There was also disruption in the British Grand Prix, with protesters having to be physically dragged off the track. In early April, Just Stop Oil managed to literally stop oil, blocking tankers around the country from delivering petrol, causing a week of shortages at the pumps. And recent weeks have seen our guests tonight.
Really sorry about that. Apparently copyright issues there. So I'm going to play a different video because that one did not allow me to play it for some reason. So going to try this one instead. Very sorry, guys. Really, really sorry for that. Let's watch this one instead. So it's called Woman Destroys Eco-Protesters After They Made Her Miss Mum's Funeral. Relatable.
Good evening, welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Climate protesters might be pretty irritating, but they undeniably have a serious cause. You could say we saw a bit of that yesterday when we experienced the hottest day in British history, in recorded history anyway, and there was a surge of wildfires right across the country, causing huge damage. So how do these protesters go about winning hearts and minds for their cause? Well, this was campaign group Just Stop Oil's answer today. Activists climbed gantries on the M25, blocking it and causing 9-mile tailbacks, causing, of course, extensive misery for many motorists. The group first made the headlines back in March when they stormed BAFTA's red carpet. Then it was football's turn, so they attached themselves by the neck to goalposts. There was also disruption in the British Grand Prix, with protesters having to be physically dragged off the track. In early April, Just Stop Oil managed to literally stop oil, blocking tankers around the country from delivering petrol, causing a week of shortages at the pumps. And recent weeks have seen our guests tonight glue themselves to the Hay Wain at the National Gallery, and others attach themselves to masterpieces by Van Gogh and Turner, as well as The Last Supper. I'm joined now by Just Stop Oil co-founder Hannah Hunt and protester Eben Lazarus. Welcome to you both. I suppose my reaction to this is that I don't dispute you represent an important cause. Never have done. I believe in climate change. I think it's serious. I think we're seeing the impact of that all through Europe at the moment.
Oh my gosh. He believes in climate change. Okay, then why are so many climate experts coming out and saying that it's a load of rubbish, that there is global warming? You know, climate change is a thing. It has existed since the beginning of time. Of course, the climate changes because we've seen the Ice Age in history. But yeah, the climate changes, which is a natural fluctuation in temperature in the Earth. Of course, that happens. But global warming, which they're saying is like going to end the world, that is a scam. And that's a lie, and it's not true, and they're trying to say it to make us hand over our freedoms in the hope that the government can save us from the world ending, which is just such a load of rubbish. They just want to push a social credit system, guys. Anyway, Piers Morgan is fueling the fire. He is giving attention to this lie and saying that he is actually promoting this message. That is so embarrassing.
In a pretty dramatic manner. I guess my problem is the way you're going about this, because I'm not sure you're winning hearts and minds. I think you're actually having the opposite effect. And that's my problem with it. I think the kind of cultural wanton damage, I think, you know, hijacking sporting events, I think the motorway stuff where you're causing huge disruption to so many people, it's, I think, annoying a lot of people more than it's bringing them to you. What do you say?
I mean, so Piers, if you agree that there's this huge issue right now, then you might also agree that no new oil and gas licenses, which is what we're asking for, is a no-brainer. It's in line with what the International Energy Agency, the IPCC, the UN are all asking. It's in line with
all corrupt organisations. Carry on.
The government net zero targets, right? So that's what we're asking. It's a no-brainer demand. And we have to do whatever we can to force the government to implement this, because otherwise we're on a course bound for, you know, more summers like what we're seeing this week.
Right. I mean, Hannah, the government doesn't seem to be paying much attention to you guys attaching yourselves to paintings or disrupting sporting events or disrupting motorists going about their business, some to very important things.
I mean, the government aren't paying attention to us, and nor are they paying attention to the severity of the climate crisis. I mean, this week, in the hottest week of weather we've seen in British history, on Monday, our UK judiciary ruled that the government's net zero plans for 2050 are unlawful. So the real true criminals here are our government. They don't care about the situation or the severity at all, Piers.
But
Oh my gosh, guys, there was hot weather. Can't believe there was hot weather. 30 degrees. Oh my goodness, guys. We are literally burning. The world is on fire. There are flames all around us, guys. Oh my gosh. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the world.
do you care about the disruption you cause ordinary people who've got nothing to do with this,
So
who are trying to go
embarrassing.
about their lives, their business, and you're disrupting them? You're causing them a lot of misery. Do you care about them?
I mean, Piers, have you seen the disruption that the heat waves, the fires are literally engulfing
Sure.
houses in London?
I'm
It's
asking-
causing... Have you seen the strain to our NHS? They are on a black level alert.
Yeah.
Have you seen the strain to our fire service? They've had the greatest call-out since
I
World
know.
War II.
I'm asking you, though, about the disruption you cause ordinary people who might well support the general cause you're representing, but don't understand why you want to cause them so much distress. Do you understand the distress you're causing some people?
So my personal view, you're asking me about my distress.
No, I'm asking you
Sorry,
about the
my
distress you
understanding
cause
of the distress.
other people. Are you aware of quite the scale of the kind of distress you cause when, for example, you bring motorways crashing to a halt?
If we're
That there
talking
may
about
be people,
disruption,
that there may
there
be
will be
people.
no
Hang on, let me
NHS
finish.
if
Let me
we
finish.
cause-
Let me finish. That there may be people who are actually trying to get to incredibly important things. Do you care about them?
Piers, come on, look at the situation we're in right now. You know
discussed
what's
the debate.
happening.
I'm asking
what we
you if
have to
on a
look
human
at is whether this is
I
a
understand.
proportional response
I understand.
to what is going on.
That wasn't the question. You know, with respect to both of you, I've said I agree with the cause you're fighting for. It's the methodology I have a problem with, and I
Oh
just
my
wonder whether
goodness.
you have understood.
But you keep, throughout all these interviews that you and other members of the media have with people, you keep throwing out this methodology thing. But if you look
I just
at the
asked you
scale-
whether you care about the distress you cause people.
Listen, we care about any distress that is caused to anyone. That's what we're trying to prevent in doing this. Because if we don't stop the government opening the 40 new oil and gas fields that they have planned, then the amount of distress and suffering and death that is coming is unimaginable.
To some people's misery is worth preventing other misery. Is that the calculation you've made?
Piers, you're just coming in with these questions again and again,
Well,
and
not really.
you know you're going to get the same answers from any of
Evan,
us.
I'm not.
Why don't we talk
I'm
about
asking
the
you.
actual
I'm asking you a
issues
very
that's here?
specific question because I have another guest here, Amanda Bishop. Amanda, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Where have you come from today?
I've come from my mother's funeral today.
Your mother's funeral. Oh,
Yes.
First of all, my deepest condolences
Thank you.
to you and your family
Yeah,
on the
thank
loss of your mother. Obviously, a hugely important day for your family.
Hugely.
And you wanted to give your mum a great send-off
We did.
and give her the funeral she deserved.
That's right.
How old was she, if you don't mind me asking?
She was 90. She died on her 90th birthday.
So she had an extraordinary life,
She did.
which you wanted to pay proper tribute to today. And,
We all did.
And what happened?
We basically got stuck in traffic because of the protests, illegal protests from what I can gather, because unfortunately my mother lived very close to the M25 and that's where the hearse left from. And as a consequence, we were so delayed in traffic that we actually missed our allocated
We're
slot.
seeing the pictures here of the car behind the hearse, showing the hearse stuck in traffic. And as a consequence, you missed your slot.
We missed
and
our
how
slot.
long in the end was your mother's funeral?
A very, very quick 10 minutes. And my mother was a meticulous timekeeper, meticulous.
And I understand her best friend couldn't even get there.
Couldn't even get there. And it caused an enormous amount of issues for us, because, not least because we didn't feel that we could pay her the tribute that we wanted in the time that we did. But we had all the other arrangements that we had for the rest of the day were really put out.
I mean, I understand why young people are concerned about climate change. I understand why they want to protest and so on. I don't understand some of these methods they're using. I don't think they understand the implications and the consequences of what they do. And I think you've just perfectly explained one scenario, which has been repeated, I suspect, many times over today.
Yes.
How do you feel about it when you see the protesters here and they respond the way they do? How do you feel?
Okay, well, I'd really like, I hope I would give as balanced a view as I can, because we understand that climate change is a pressing issue. But I think to do the things that you did and to endanger, forgetting all the delays that happened to people today, actually, we got on with our day. You did not disrupt our day at all. You disrupted it, but we still felt that we managed to pay a tribute that we wanted to her. And I'm sure every other driver and everybody else you inconvenienced today felt the same thing. But if I was married to one of those police officers whose lives you were endangering today, I would be less impressed with that. Particularly when I can see a tweet from you that you're very happy with all the firefighters risking their lives yesterday and in admiration of them. But on the same token, you're allowing police officers, and some people, I'm sure, would have said you should be able to protest illegally like that, and just someone should have just left you there. And why should we all get disrupted if you are knowing that you are breaking the law?
OK, what's your response?
Firstly, I just want to say I truly am sorry for disrupting your day, and also condolences. I really am sorry. But I want to try and look at the bigger picture here. And the criminals are our government. They're investing in new oil, and these 40 new licences that they plan to open by 2025 is a death project, and they are failing to protect the people of this country, which is their fundamental responsibility.
Well, can I just say, and
Oh my goodness. She's so brainwashed. It is so sad to watch. And I admire her distaste for the government. I am on the same page as that, but she is completely missing the point. The government are, yeah, they are evil, but not because of global warming. They're evil because they want to try and make you into a government slave. Come on, see the bigger picture. She's saying, oh yes, the bigger picture. She's not seeing the bigger picture. So stop telling other people to, because you can't see it yourself, woman. When we are living in a social credit system, one day, soon, you will be looking at yourself in this interview and laughing and saying, oh my goodness. Actually, you won't be laughing. You'll be terrified, and you'll realise the massive part you played in brainwashing the public into being so scared that they are willing to give their freedom to the government and become government slaves in the hopes that they will try and protect us from global warming. You have pushed a narrative which is so dangerous, and the public will watch this and probably see your conviction and believe you. And that's so sad and so dangerous. And I believe she's either an actor or she truly believes that what she's doing is correct. But you would think she's an actor because of how good she is at pushing this message the government really want us to hear in order to hand over our freedom to them.
I hear what you're saying, and I have 3 young children of my own, young adults. And I also understand that actually what you're trying to do when you make change is actually build and bring people with you, and it's a skill to have, a really big skill. And if you don't have that skill, it's easy to do the things that you're doing to try and get some short tactics, but actually you're not bringing about change. And even though you might think that the government are the criminals, I at least elected them. And if I don't like them, I can elect them again, either to not be in power or choose somebody else. I didn't elect you, and I don't necessarily agree with your politics.
I mean, Piers has, is it 11-year-old daughter you have? How old's your daughter? And she is voiceless right now. She cannot elect someone in power to choose what her future looks like. And her future, by the time she is my age, there will be drought, there will be food shortages, and worse summers than this one. So,
yeah, there'll be food shortages because the government are going to be rationing us because of the message that you are spreading right now. That's why there'll be food shortages, hun.
Unfortunately, it's for the people that we have to act who cannot vote to elect.
Right, but
someone...
here, OK, but look, I mean, look, here you have a woman who's tried to say goodbye to her mum, who's 90 years old. It would be the most important day potentially you've ever had in your life, I would think. And ends up with 10 minutes, a funeral lasting 10 minutes for her mother. And that's directly because of the Stop the Oil protests, which shut down the motorway. The best friend of her mother couldn't even get there to say goodbye to her great friend. Do you feel any sense of remorse about that when you hear it?
I mean, listen, firstly, my deepest condolences as well. I think the problem is you were talking about electing and re-electing governments, but we don't have the time for that. So if we're talking about the net zero targets that the government have put in place, which the judiciary have just ruled unlawful, that's in 28 years' time. And our country is burning. Okay, we've literally seen that this week. We've seen people die because of the heat, and it's just going to get worse. The whole of Europe is burning and is on fire.
And there are
People have died because of the heat for forever. Forever. That doesn't mean that we're suddenly experiencing something we've never experienced before. It's happened since forever. And it's the majority of deaths are older people as well. People who were going to die anyway and just are too old to take heat. Why is that such a big worry to you? Like, it's literally happened since the beginning of time. Of course, if there's a really old person, they're not going to be feeling well when it's quite hot. But why are you scared of hot weather? This man is not a man. He's so effeminate. He's literally, he looks so feminine. And the message that he is spreading right now, literally saying he's afraid of hot weather, is proving my point even more. That is so embarrassing.
As we
to make that
continue
point. There are ways to make that point.
What we have
and
to do is
endangering the
generate
lives
the
and
political
disrupting.
will. We're
You're not
talking about
generating
determining how many people are going to die and suffer over the coming decades. We're going to talk. We're talking about what kind of a future your children,
would you
my
replace,
generation are going
would
to
you
have.
right
because
now?
our government don't care right now.
I mean, how draconian would you be? Would you cut the oil off right now?
What we're saying is no new oil and gas. So
Right.
by the
But
government,
if it was down to you, would you cut it off right now?
No, that would be total chaos. But by the government's own reports, we have 8 years of oil and gas reserves left. That's plenty of time to transition away from that into something that's sustainable and that actually gives our generation a future. I mean, we're already seeing the impacts. This isn't something that's going to happen in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, let's live off electricity so the government can turn it off when we do something they don't like. Good idea. Good idea. Because if that's what you mean by sustainable, it ain't gonna work, and I am not. I refuse to do it, and so many people refuse to do it. Not just me, literally millions of people who are going against this message that they're trying to push. So I can't watch any more of that, guys. I'm really sorry. Can't do it. It's just too. Oh, it hurts my brain seeing people who are that brainwashed and literally want to be government slaves.